Listen to Laken Snelling tell us what exactly happened last summer as she changes her plea to guilty in the manslaughter charge involving her infant son's death today. After this quick clip, we'll get into more details about what is to happen next.
Tell me what you did.
I was under a lot of emotional distress, and my baby came unexpectedly. And instead of helping him, I ended his life. And afterwards, I cleaned up and didn't tell him.
Okay. So tell me, when you say instead of helping him, you did what?
I ended his life.
How did you end his life, ma'am?
I deprived him of oxygen.
Okay. All right. And did you tell me about this tampering with physical evidence? What did you do with the evidence that could have been collected?
I put the towels in a plastic bag.
Okay. And what about this concealing the birth?
I didn't tell anyone after.
Okay. All righty. So are you pleading guilty today of your own free will without any threats, pressures, or promises from anyone to get you to do so?
Yes, ma'am.
Knowing that you have the rights which I've mentioned and which are contained in the guilty plea form that you put your signature to, is it still your desire today to waive those rights, enter a guilty plea, and allow the courts to fix your penalty?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I will share the full 10-minute court hearing today in a separate video. It's about 10 minutes long, and it does come from Court TV as our resource this morning. Let's quickly talk about what happened in this case and then what is going to happen next. Laken Snelling is a former University of Kentucky student, and she was indicted by a grand jury on charges connected to the death of her newborn. Last year, on August 27th, around 10:30 a.m., police were called to a residence near the University of Kentucky for an unresponsive infant. Officers arrived at the scene to find the infant, who was pronounced deceased at the scene. Now, when the medical examiner looked into this case, they determined that the infant was born alive and the cause of death was asphyxiation. Now, back in April, Laken was in court and she previously pled not guilty to these charges. However, her defense team did approach the Commonwealth attorney to see if they could talk about a possible plea arrangement, and the office accepted the invitation to negotiate. Now, as part of the deal, Laken was required to tell the court exactly what happened last summer, which is what we saw she did in that clip. Now, the Commonwealth attorney has commented on the situation, saying that they do believe that Laken has a great deal of remorse in this situation. The Commonwealth has recommended the following: a sentence of 10 years for first-degree manslaughter, an additional 3 years for the abuse of a corpse, tampering with evidence, and concealing a birth. Now, if the judge sentences Laken to a longer term than what was agreed upon, she would have the right to withdraw her plea and request a jury trial. That is why it is likely the final sentence will fall within those parameters. The next part of this is that sentencing for Laken will be scheduled for October 16th, 2026. Back to report on what the sentencing is. Let me know your thoughts on this case. If you want to know the full details of everything that happened, I have previous videos on this, and you can find that in a Laken Snelling playlist on my channel. And if you were interested in seeing the full court hearing from today, you can also see that on my channel. Again, that comes from Court TV. Thank you all so much for tuning into The Light True Crime. Remember, what happens in the dark will always come to the light. Be kind to one another, stay safe, and as always, I will see you all in the next one.